Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join this discussion right here, right now, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Chocolate Sane, Arwin and 10th Man in the Google Hangouts. How you doing?
Very well.
Good morning.
Hey, Arwin.
Any signs of Earth curvature?
Are we getting straight into it? We've also got people on Discord, but 10th Man's super keen. So, hello everyone in Discord. Hope you're all doing well.
Say it again. Any signs of Earth curvature?
No signs, no signs.
Good afternoon, Nathan. How are you all doing?
We're all good. Thank you for asking.
Nah, no curvature.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
Nope. No evidence.
Discord panel? Anything? Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Scientific evidence of what?
Gravity? Moving on.
Any evidence of a self-perpetuating molten iron core at the center of a presupposed spherical Earth?
Come on, I'm holding out hope every day for this particular one. There's got to be someone in the Discord server that's got evidence of a molten iron core, right? Lay it on me.
But even if he had evidence of an iron core, if it's molten, it's past the Curie point, and there is no magnetism anyway. So I don't even know what we're talking about, really.
Right on.
Yep. I agree with that.
Right, the R value. Any evidence of that?
Is there any value to R? Or is
If
it
you
just
win.
another debt scam?
If you win, your R win.
No, there's
Terrible.
only one R win. Sorry.
Stick to the Musa references, 10th Man. they work every time. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
Oh, absolutely no.
Okay, well,
Not according to QuickFit.
I'm
According
seeing
to
really
QuickFit.
awesome CGI here in my recommended YouTube list.
Is that a Brit that said that? Not according to QuickFit.
Oh, really? Must be temperature then.
I think that's a reference to tyres and gas pressure without the container, i.e. asking QuickFit to put gas pressure around the rim of a wheel without the expense of a tyre.
But you need to film that because I want to see the face of those guys when you ask.
Oh wow!
There's got to be an opportunity out there for some up-and-coming Flat Earth YouTuber to walk into tyre sales shop of unknown, unnamed, whatever, and say, I really want some of your gas pressure. I just don't want your expensive tyre. How about chucking it round the rim and just making it stay there? It's possible, for sure. And when they're saying no, just glance up at the sky.
Yeah, that's
Well, there's so many absurd things in
Just gonna look at you
real
like you're
that
crazy.
indeed
that's
Hang on.
like
they're a laughing stock. That's for real.
Hold on, just do a
Nate,
quick. Hold on. Quick sound check. Hey, on.
Hey,
Hey.
good morning
It is.
Probably
It
not.
certainly is.
or night.
I was saying,
Time zones.
I've got one last thing. So the last housekeeping questions in regards to axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, and we will be covering, if you're watching live, Bullbusters, which has been on yesterday. If you're watching this on Nathan Oakley 1980, but yeah, if you are watching live tomorrow, Saturday, Bullbusters will be covering one of the most amazing flat Earth proofs you've ever seen, and I'm absolutely certain, beyond doubt, that Ranty's done the most amazing presentation. And yeah, there's no pressure on him at all to make sure he does come up with that. So yeah, that'll be on there, along with us dropping anchor on the Coriolis effect, which is definitely a subject of the moment. Thank God it's no longer gravity. Until gravity comes up again. Or goes down, depending on which you want to weigh. Boom, boom.
Boom! Fall down, go boom, boom.
That's it. Exactly. But I'm glad we're on to Coriolis, because I don't know, I like Coriolis in the respect that it's nice and simple. I hate the fact that it's so, there's layer upon layer upon layer of heliocentric bullshit layered on top of that particular subject, because it's necessitated in their model but doesn't happen. So it's got to be layered up with bullshit. You know, there is Coriolis. Coriolis is real. That's a real effect. You can observe it on a roundabout by throwing a ball and watching how it appears to curve because you're carrying on spinning and it's not. That's nice and simple. That's Coriolis effect. Earth needs that to occur because Earth's spinning. Well, it doesn't. Because if it did, your plane travel would be a lot shorter because the Earth would turn underneath. Your drone would suddenly disappear from view because the Earth turned underneath. You'd only need hover in a helicopter and the continent would come to you. None of that stuff happens, even though they claim it does with bullets and footballs. You know, it's a claim of a rotating Earth that doesn't stack up. We don't have an Earth-based Coriolis effect, and we'll definitely be covering that in great detail. As I say, tomorrow, if you're watching live, or yesterday, check out Nathan Oakley's Flat Earth Thoughts playlist for the Bullbusters most recent, or Science versus Scientism, Pseudoscience, forget which one, playlists for the Bullbusters. But yeah, that'll be yesterday if you're watching on Sunday, or tomorrow if you're watching live.
That'll be yesterday.
yeah, that argument, the Coriolis and the gas pressure without a container are my favorite too, because using their own words, they die by their own sword.
With Coriolis is really easy to understand, but it's also really easy to confuse over if you're gonna try to prove a Coriolis effect with something that isn't actually there somehow. That's what they constantly do. So they then muck up the simplicity of the Coriolis effect to just
who
make
you
it
talking
appear
to?
like it's there and not there at the same time.
Who are you
That's
talking
really
to?
what's happening.
I'm talking to the audience.
No. That's not what I meant. I meant when you talk to an average person, they are not these trolls who have the layers and layers of ridiculous comebacks. The average person says, yeah, there's Coriolis. All right, what's Coriolis? And then because they're not a troll, it's easy to convert them, or it's easy to get them to shut up because they realize they don't know what they're talking about. It's only the trolls that Arwen is referencing that have the layers of BS.
I think if you said
No,
most
not
people,
necessarily. I disagree.
if you ask
Because
most people,
the more
sorry,
it-
Arwen.
Oh.
No, you go. My bad.
Okay, right. So I kind of disagree because even the more innocent ballers that get confronted with the confusion about the Coriolis, they may simply go divided and start to follow their own train of thought from their own personal perspective. So there's no guarantee at all.
That's why I like the. That's why I
They
like the
just
smart.
tend to get confused about it and mixed up. And then it's all about that mixing up and not getting to any actual result.
Let me know when you're done.
I'm done now.
Okay, sorry.
Next
to
time,
interrupt.
ask before.
Okay, I will ask you before I interrupt you if I'm interrupting you. Thank you. That's why the smartphone is fantastic, because I'll just hand it to him with the dictionary. I say, type in Coriolis.
But actually, guys, if you look carefully, in fact, rotation contradicts the gradient because the gradient only happens, at least it's only observed in a system at rest. So if there is a rotation, the system wouldn't be at rest. So that's more ammunition for you.
That's a good point.
Pass.
Good point.
My earlier point,
Well,
Nathan, was about your tire pressure going to the garage and asking someone to just give you the free gas, but not the expensive tire. Rory did that. The guy, my perspective channel, he went to a camera. I think he said he did it, or he made it sound like you
No,
should.
we
do it.
were
I can't-
joking about the whole lot. We were joking about it.
Well, he was saying that imagine going into a camera store and asking for a zoom lens that has zoom of 248,000 miles. What would the skilled camera salesperson say to you if you asked for a zoom that could go out and get something 248,000 miles and bring it?
Well, I'll
They
play.
will
I'll play
they will
ball.
call security on you.
Well, no. I'll play out that scenario. So let's pretend we're not flat earthers for a moment, right? And that scenario play out with the person, the camera technician. I actually worked in a camera shop, explaining that that's not possible and all the reasons why. But then cocky guy who's the customer looks up at the sky and says, "Oh, what about the stars?" Now, both parties in that scenario would go, "Oh, you with your clever dickery," right? Would be the salesman, the camera guy selling the camera's response. Because instinctively, they're both brainwashed with the same nonsense. So even though there's a contradiction with the very words that's come out of the salesperson's mouth in regards to why that wouldn't work, he would relinquish it all in a heartbeat the moment the guy looks up at the sky and says, "What about the stars?" Because he's brainwashed too.
Who said about the star?
I assume that was where you were going with the colossal distances, were you not?
Well, my point in listening to Rory put it out the way he did was, so the objects must be closer if I'm able to get it with my 80 millimeter zoom.
I see.
What really puzzles me is the difference between the stars from the vault, which go around, and the wandering stars. Why that difference?
Stars that do what? I didn't quite catch that.
The difference between the wandering stars and the stars in the vault. Why is there a difference between their movement and the movement of the ones in the vault? That's something very puzzling, and I think if we crack that, we may do a couple of steps.
Good luck.
Yeah.
I feel like certain things are. I feel like certain things are just unknowable from our perspective. From
Yeah,
where we
I would
are.
agree with that.
I don't
think
really
that
see
would
the big
be-
deal.
Well, if you're waiting for an empirical evidence, yeah, but you can try to imagine.
Does everyone, just for the audience benefit, just in case people don't understand what retrograde motion is, so you look at a light in the sky and track its position relative to the rest of the stars. You come back the following night and it's slightly further back in its positioning versus the rest of the movement of the stars. Now, there's a deduction by the heliocentric believers that means it's circling the other way in a heliocentric model. Well, in reality, you're just observing something slightly further back in its pattern the following time you look at it. But, you know, that's described as... I can never remember the one before heliocentric description of this. Retrograde motion is what it's currently called.
Ptolemaic.
Say again?
Ptolemaic.
No, the description
It's Ptolemy.
Yeah, but what did he describe retrograde as? There's a different word.
There were little loops. If you look at the Ptolemaic
perihelium.
heliocentric model,
Say again?
One of them.
Who said it?
if you have
Perihelium or something like that.
No. I've forgotten the word. I'm sure someone from chat will say it. What's the other word for
I know
retrograde motion?
in another language. I don't know in English.
No, just in a different cosmology. Come on, chat. You're failing me completely. Right the hand. Help me out. We'll get there. I'm sure someone will mention it in the chat. But nonetheless, that's what we're
Does it have
talking
any
about.
relations to a circuit and running its course?
I don't know, but if you look at the model that we have currently, they gave us the heliocentric model and the ellipsoids. It doesn't look anything. It doesn't look. It does not look. What's the word? Elegant. If you look at the Ptolemaic model, it just looks perfectly elegant with these little loop-de-loop circles. I don't know which one's correct, but there's no way to know exactly which one is correct. Because both models predict the paths just fine, and one of them looks prettier. So I mean, take that.
Models are reification fallacies. They don't predict anything.
That's why I laughed. I said models, haha. That's why I gave a little smirk.
All right.
Well, if we see them coming from the east going to the west, and they change positions over a year's time, and then they get back to their original position, they're running a circuit, and so one day or week will be different than the week before because they're running that circuit, right? Alrighty then.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth.
But you should be happy. I didn't have a lisp.
Right, are you there, QE?
Yes.
I'm frantically Googling and I can't bloody find it.
What you looking for?
The word that they used to use before it was called retrograde.
The word they used before retrograde. I have no idea.
To describe retrograde motion of planets.
I have no idea.
God damn. It's gonna bug the hell out of me.
The ecliptic?
No, don't just guess. Right, you either know what retrograde used to be called or you don't.
Antrograde.
Don't guess. I can see the
No,
chat
I
guessing.
didn't.
Right, the hand in the chat says prograde, maybe?
And I
No,
just
that's
looked it
the
up.
opposite of retrograde.
If you Google retrograde versus and hit enter, it's the first one that comes up.
What's it called?
Anterograde. Antrograde.
No. I'm not. No.
I never heard that before in my life.
Don't let this kill a conversation while I just satisfy my own frustration.
Well, yeah, way to kill a conversation. Jeez.
Yeah, my bad.
It's something.
It
must be something.
How about moving
common.
backwards?
But it's not. But it's not moving backwards. Even in the heliocentric model, it's not moving backwards. It's just the way that. Sorry, go on.
It's apparent in the heliocentric reification fallacy. It's only apparent.
Exactly. It's an apparent. I have to say it. An apparent backward movement.
Thank you very much.
It's just
Nathan,
look, it's not moving backwards. Go on. Hello.
All I can think of is perihelion. That's all we say in English. Perihelion.
That could be the right word. It could be.
That's around the sun, basically. It's like periphery, and helion like Helios, the sun. Perihelion.
No, that's when that's the orbit. That's the when something orbits
That's the orbit,
in an ellipsoid. Yeah.
But yeah, it's the thing that is very funny is if you look at the perihelion, if you look at the
epicycles. Is that what it's called? Epicycles?
Epicycles from Ptolemy, right?
It just came to me.
Epicycles.
I'm a lying sod. I totally Googled it. Got there in the end.
Booyah.
Yeah, epicycles. There we go. In the geocentric model.
I said that. I said you're pedaling backward on the cycle.
Yeah. My fingers were faster, therefore I'm smarter because I'm quicker at googling. No, I did know it. It wasn't on the tip of my tongue. I'd be lying if it was, but I knew what I was talking about. What I was referring to. In other words, there's different ways of describing that apparent backwards motion that you see in the sky if you're tracking the stars night after night. But the descriptions are just that, right? A description of what I've very badly described to a layman of what you would actually observe in the sky. But if you've got a model in place with a load of presuppositions attached and it doesn't quite work, you've got to come up with an explanation to make it work. Well, that explanation's not proving any causality for what is actually causing that to happen. There's just a little bit of an explanation, possibly some mathematics that goes along with an observation of a cycle. That's it. Meaningless.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But in fact, what actually annoys me is that you compare my method to the one of Einstein. But Einstein was a brain fart. It was from inception a brain fart. My method is absolutely different. I try to correlate existing effects and existing observations of experiments with. So
that's very obvious. You're trying to describe a more personal code of conduct, and it's sensible. Sorry.
Yes.
So on a more superficial note, the epicycles from Ptolemy, right? Which cracks me up, and you know somebody's a pretender clown, and a lot of people do it. They pronounce the P and say Ptolemaic, like pneumonia. You don't pronounce the P, clowns. It's Ptolemaic, T, the P's silent. Okay? But you just keep on doing it. Cracks me up.
In French, you would say Ptolemy. In French, you would say the P. Like you say a pneu from pneumatic, from tire. It depends from the language.
Hey, how do you say guillotine in French? Is it with the L or with no L?
Heating, as in what? Warming up.
The one that cuts your head.
Guillotine, like chopping your head off.
I've heard it with L and without the L. Which one is proper in French?
I don't understand the question. Say again. I don't understand the English word, actually.
Guillotine. The word is guillotine.
You guys,
my God, if everybody speaks at the same time, it's evil.
Guillotine.
All right. Well, everyone's...
Like guillotine. Guillotine. GUI double L. 2 L's.
So shout out to Truth in Your Face. It says it's about 42 degrees Celsius. Holy Jesus. In my house. So my ears are beginning to pop. I can say what's coming. So if I can't write anything on topic because I can't hear anything, lol. Man, that sounds horrible. But thank you for the super chat. Truth in my face. If you're in the chat live now, go and subscribe to Truth in My Face. He's a videographer, so he's got content. Go and subscribe to him. Right click on his whatever that blue face is and check out his channel. He's got good videos in there. He's very complimentary to me. That's not the reason why I'm shouting him out, but nonetheless, he's a good videographer. Things that make you go, right? Yeah, so check him out. What was I going to say? It's a really nice word. Epicilic motion. Isn't that a nice word?
Yeah, it's smooth.
Smooth. Epicilic motion. That just got loads more sex appeal to it than retrograde.
Or hypostatization.
Hypostatization. Yeah, I bit my tongue earlier. I'm definitely not going to get that word correct.
And actually, Tesla said they turn reality into words and then they start talking about words. That's exactly that.
Does that word have any meaning for you, Ben? As we discussed it earlier, I am kind of poking you a little bit, but hypothesization with a lisp. Does that word mean anything?
Hypothesization. Jesus.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Trust me, it's difficult. Especially for me. I've been spending my whole life speaking.
Not the pronunciation.
French speaker.
Not the pronunciation. The meaning of the word.
Hypothesization, and I cannot say it.
Hypothesization is
look. Hypothesization.
Hypothesization. It's not that difficult.
It is when you bit your tongue.
Hypothesization.
Anyway, right. So
I like how we're having
Ugh.
science vocabulary.
Everyone
Anyway.
say it one more time.
Right, I'm going to mute everybody. We can all shut up. Right, it's the fallacy of misplaced concreteness, otherwise known as reification.
How
Glad that
ironic.
cycle ended.
How ironic. I didn't bring that up for any other reason. No agenda here.
Yeah, you want to hear me with a slight lisp say a word I can't normally say that well anyway, right?
It kills two birds with one stone.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'll say it as many times. I don't mind being the butt of this joke. The point is the same. We're talking about reification, and that's what the heliocentric model is. A hypothesization.
We can move on to ontological afterwards.
Oh, God, here we go. I could probably say that with the lisp. Ontological. There you go.
But let's not forget epistemologic. Epistemologic is another good one, for it matters.
Yeah, that's not using that part of my mouth. I'm all good with this. I think I'll be okay.
Epistemologic? Say
Epistemological? What's so difficult about that?
Epistemological.
Yeah.
Epistemological.
Look, this is going to get extremely
because
dull
that's
for
what
the
you need
audience.
to insert your own
Started
scientific
something
method
that's not
in.
gonna end.
Yeah.
In order to see a bit better around everything. I mean, honestly, I would definitely advise everybody there on this panel to read Karl Popper.
Why?
Karl Popper is an epistemologist.
Oh, okay.
And he's fantastic. He's got really an approach to science. And if you really want to kick ass when you have a conversation about science, that's the guy to go through first.
And everyone that
go-to guy.
parrots Karl
It's not about
Popper,
the scientific
I kick
method,
their
right?
ass.
Say again?
I love it when people parrot Karl Popper. One, they don't know what they're talking about, most people.
Honestly, he's the one that really got the scientific method framed into a more meaty background than what you
Okay, give us some cowbell. What do you do?
Basis.
Okay, yeah. So what has he done then? Put more meat on the bones of a very simplistic method. Tell me more.
Yeah, well, very, very mechanical. You know, you need to give it some curves. You know?
What do you do? Come on, give us some cowbell. You brought him up.
Cowbells are curved, so.
I
got a fever, and the only cure is cowbell. Give us some cowbell, man. Karl Popper, go.
Cowbell. What do you mean, cowbell?
So everyone calm down. So what you're saying is, look, man, Karl Popper's the man when it comes to science. He's expanded on science. So he's the guy
on
to
epistemology, specifically.
You said science.
Yeah, but epistemology is the philosophy underlying science.
Science is just a method.
It's actually underlying knowledge and how knowledge gets passed around in a society, not necessarily.
Well, that's what science is.
That kind of sounds like philosophy about
Gnoseology is the art of knowing. That's science. That's where it comes from.
So that's the philosophy about science.
Philosophy,
right?
Yes, it's the art of thinking right, and the specific branch of philosophy that deals with science, it's epistemology.
We're still waiting for the cowbell.
It's philosophy about the scientific method, so it's not actually about the scientific method.
No, it's not. It has nothing to do with the scientific method. It has to do with how knowledge gets passed around in a society. Where how do people?
Epistemology is the underlying thinking around science, the scientific method, and everything. It's absolutely about the scientific method. Absolutely, it is. That's why you guys should look into it.
Still waiting
because it
for
gives
the cowbell.
Different perspectives.
Again,
Sorry?
I say again, I'm still waiting, and so is the audience, for the cowbell for Karl Popper. Are we going to get to it, sir, or are you going to dance around some more?
So, shout out before you do to Colin Turner, who says, epistemology is about how we know what we know. Thank you very much for the super chat, Colin Turner.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the scientific method itself. Here's the definition. The theory of knowledge, especially with regards to its method.
Right.
You could
How we
use
know
the
what we know. The
scientific
person who
method,
said
but you
that.
could use another method. Like certain people.
Guys, don't judge before you know what I'm talking about. Go and have a look at Karl Popper, and then have a talk about it. But
Why?
don't
You
judge on
brought it up.
don't try to wing it. That's not something you can wing.
Oh my God, he charges us
No,
with winging
listen.
it. He brings it up,
I'm not.
right?
I'm not winging it. I'm talking.
No,
The
he's
way
not
I
talking
learned
to you.
about really a lot of this is from Rodrigo Nunez, which is a PhD anthropologist who kind of became a flat earther. And I don't know if you guys seen his video, but you know he tried to understand the epistemological angle of the flat Earth, basically saying how does the knowledge of flat Earth gets passed around in a society. It's an anthropological field of study about
sounds
how
interesting.
knowledge gets passed around in a clan or in a group of people.
Who is that?
Has nothing to
And
do
that
with the
would be
scientific method
epistemology
per
in your
se.
view.
Hold on, Ben.
Psychology,
Hold on, Ben.
informational study. It's really
Owen, hold on. What was that guy's? That did sound interesting, despite his pseudoscience background. What was that guy's name?
He's actually really great. His name is Rodrigo Nunez.
Yeah, I've heard that name before.
He's a
Rodrigo
What's
Nunez. Okay, yeah, no, I've heard the name before. It's come up a couple of times, but I didn't know that the guy was a.
I'll paste his link, his YouTube link on Master B, and you guys check him out. He's one of my favorite flat earthers to listen to because
Is he
he came from not being
a former paleontologist? Did you say?
He's a PhD anthropologist.
Anthropologist.
Yeah, and he gave a speech in Sweden to the Society of Anthropologists about flat Earth, and he originally came in trying to figure out what's going on. Why do people believe this shit? And he came in with no judgment, because it's one of the ethics of anthropologists is to not to judge how other people think, and he took that oath very seriously. So as he came in, he basically talked to all the major flat earthers and did videos with them, and then eventually I think he's now a flat earther, which is my favorite part of it. I'll paste his link on Master B.
I mean, I'll definitely check him out. Just one question, knowing him or having watched him, does he assert science with his pseudoscience?
I don't know. He does no. It's not about science or pseudoscience. He just basically, at this point, he's now a flat earther. So he breaks down NASA videos. But if you want to watch the very first video which is the gist of the speech he gave to the Society of Anthropologists in Sweden, there is nothing about like trying to prove anything with scientific method. He's basically just genuinely explaining the griefs that flat earthers have with the current model. And he's just explaining, he's like, this is why they believe what they believe. And then by they, I mean I. It's clear that now he's a flat earther.
No, I understand. It's just with somebody with that type of background, there's always the concern that when let's remove me from it. When someone like Quantum Eraser and he cross paths, and he's from the social sciences, that obviously is a bit concerning. When it's on the list, right? It's a pseudoscience, like it or not. But it's not that I want to decry any of these people's work. It's only when they start asserting science. And if you, by the way you've contextualized it, you make it clear that it's not ever framed in that way. So therefore, his accreditation and his discoveries through investigation are presumably just as credible as anybody else's. They're not coming along with an assertion that this is science, right? I know how the people of the world behave in this given circumstance, science. And if he's not doing that, then no qualm, no foul, right?
No, he's not doing any of that. I mean, you watch it yourself, and then maybe in a couple of days, see what you see. But from my perspective, I mean, but then again, I see him as favorably because, I like how he doesn't. He's one of those guys that doesn't make fun of flat earthers, and he came from an academic background. So for me, I was just like, nice, this is great.
Can you stick a link
but
in?
Again, this is not. Huh?
Can you give us a link? I'll stick it in the live chat, and people can go and subscribe to him.
Yep.
Me included.
Give me 1 minute.
No worries. Shout out again to Colin Turner. Sorry, whoever was about to talk.
Yeah, I was.
Noons is the acceptable face of pseudoscience. Read that correctly. Nunes. He's talking about the same guy, right? Nunes is the acceptable face of pseudoscience.
I believe
right
so.
now it's gone out the
Rodrigo
glare.
Nunes.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Maybe
I
it is Nunes.
I couldn't quite read what he was saying. Now it's gone out of the glare of my screen. I can read the sentiment as well. Nunes is the acceptable face of pseudoscience. That makes sense, Colin Taylor. Yes, thank you very much for the super chat.
Well, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Okay, I'm going to say this again. Where is the cowbell for Karl Popper? Somebody brought it up. Can somebody please put a little meat on the bone? Okay? In the next 30 minutes. For crying out loud, man.
So
guess not.
Right the hand from chat says, "Where is the cowbell?" Yeah, I just started talking. So right the hand from chat says, "Where is the cowbell for double slit?" Well, quantum principles. We talked about this on the last show. What the fuck?
Somebody's over talking you. Hold on.
My God.
It's new guy. I'll go ahead. You're good. I put him on mute.
Thank you.
Good.
So, I tried to go through this on the last show. You know, when we got to discussing applied sciences, scientific discovery will drive technological advancement. So, you want cowbell? Yeah. A lot of your computing technology comes from the scientific discoveries in quantum mechanics. So, there's plenty of cowbell for scientifically valid anything because it's got validity, empiricism attached, and the double slit's no different. I don't really get your objection, right the hand. But there we go. A lot of people air it. I might as well air yours.
So we're not going to get any more cow. Somebody brought up Karl Popper, right? Yeah. I know. I keep going. I'm sorry.
That Karl Popper cowbell. Anon, right? Are you there? You said you had heard of Karl Popper.
I'd never said the word Karl Popper.
No, it wasn't him. It was News Meltdown. His mic just melted down, so I don't think we're going to get any more from him. Do you want me to unmute him? Check it out, see if he fixed his mic.
Yeah, he just might have a temporary internet issue.
Okay.
No, I'm okay.
The link is
I'm trying to
pasted
figure
in
out what's
Master
going
B.
on because it's been a bit of a mess.
Oh, cool. Sorry, Ben.
He's talking now.
My bad, Ben. We were just doing a bit of admin for a link that I'm sharing, so I talked all over you. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
Go ahead, Ben. You brought up Karl Popper about 25 minutes ago after the Nunes Rodriguez, right? So we're back to Karl Popper, right?
It was before the Nunes Rodriguez. Okay, let's talk about Karl Popper, but I'm not in front of my computer, so I will have to tell you what I've learned while I was studying. I have no reference of cowbell, so can you just please explain in a simple question what you mean and what you want me to answer?
Yes. You said that Karl Popper was all that in a bag of chips. That means he did something really important. We want to know.
I've never talked about a bag of chips that I remember.
Okay, let me try. If I say Ford Fiesta's the car is great, and someone says give me some cowbell, I go, well, it's got exceptionally well engineered power steering, really good tires. That's the sort of thing he means by cowbell. An example, a demonstration, a quantification of how Karl Popper...
You know what? It's probably an analogy in English, but I don't understand it. So what's cowbell? Is that a brand?
No, it's
just basically saying give me some good things about Karl Popper.
That's why I was thinking about pharmacokinetics. You see, if you guys...
It's very funny. It's a translation, lost in translation. All John wants is for you to tell him something cool that Karl Popper did.
Something cool.
Hold on a second. I thought I explained this at first. Okay. You said Karl Popper, that he did something really important. He was an important guy. Give us some substance of what he actually did. How about that?
Well, he is the father of the concept of reproducibility and falsifiability.
What?
He's the one that set up that method, the method you just go babbling about every day. He set up that very method. and he's the one that expressed very in many books and lectures the concept of falsifiability and repeatability.
Did I go babbling about? What do you
That's the
mean I go
cowbell.
babbling about?
And try to ask question in a bit more of an explicit way. My God, you are the most annoying person to talk to. Bar my mother.
I agree
bar my
with you.
mother-in-law.
I agree with you
My
100%,
French
sir.
mother-in-law.
I
My
think
French mother-in-law is just
Oh my
he,
a
God.
little bit above
he's
me,
autistic. Don't
but
mind
not
him.
far away.
Come on, don't take you're a little weasel sometimes, and on take your chances with your jabs while they're coming from someone else.
I'd take every chance to pummel that
Kick 'em while they're
pseudoscientific
down, right?
clown that he thinks he's some sort of
that
a
wasn't
quantum
another.
scientist.
That wasn't an open invite to carry on. Come on, let's get some control here.
I need some more ad homs. Come
no,
on,
we
I
need some
him
more
this morning.
cowbell. Where's the? I don't know who Karl Popper is, right? And I'm intrigued now. Who the hell is Karl Popper, and what's he done that's so important?
He's a philosopher from beginning of the century, and he's the one that defined the lines of scientific methodology. If you really want to have some depth in what you say, when you say what you say about scientific method, you must know Karl Popper. Just go and read it. It's a long set of conversations, essays, and so on, and it's very, very interesting. And it takes science from every side.
Hold on. Okay.
Jeez, oh man.
Yeah. So we've got he defined the scientific method.
He's the one that formalized the scientific method and all its it's the method,
part.
the falsifiability, the background of it, the actual parameters in which everything had to be done in science.
Okay, what was it specifically that Karl Popper did to give it the falsifiability?
What was his specification? The fact that you need to be in systematic doubt and systematically being able to put whatever you do into doubt.
But that's not what gives the scientific method falsifiability. The null hypothesis is what gives it falsifiability.
In a more technical way, yes. It's the same thing.
But that would have been defined long before Karl Popper.
He's the one that I said. He's the one that formalized everything. He's one of the authorities of the last century of all the philosophers.
I heard all this. Sorry, I've got to stop you. I'm really sorry, Ben. Yeah, I've heard all that. But so far, what we've got is he's the one that defined the method and gave it.
Yes, because I did that first year in my degree, and I remember a great framework, a thought framework, which I stuck to, but I won't be able to give you a citation right now. I know that the concept of falsifiability and the concept of repeatability, the concept of keeping parameters or a model open to contradiction, and that's what made the systematic doubt and the fact that science is always progressing.
Oh my
Allegedly.
God! You could have said it in one sentence. You just damn.
Right. I'm going to shut you all up while I shout out Retro Bill. Laughing so hard I nearly crashed my cowbell into a tree. Shout out to Retro Bill. Also shout out to Colin Turner. Popper popularized. Sorry. What's that word? Postulated. There we go. My bad with the glare. Popper postulated that a scientific theory is right only if it can be falsified. Scientific method precedes him.
Yeah, listen, we could have summarized it in 1 second. He just identified that pseudoscience could not be falsified, basically. So we had 30 minutes of this stuff, right? Just nonsense that could be summarized in a couple words.
So to summarize,
are you just saying Popper?
I don't know. I've actually got the bit I need.
Moron.
I just need that bit.
Without knowing. You're a moron. You're just a moron.
Oh my God, let's shut him up. So just to summarize, so what you're saying is Popper basically explained that you can't falsify something that doesn't have inherent falsifiability because of its non-adherence to the scientific method.
Explains because there is years of study about Popper that you can go before you can just easily explain Popper in a couple of words.
Three
and
to 4
declares
seconds.
asinine things like you just did.
I can't deal with him. I can't. Shut the hell up. So 30 minutes, right, of dancing around just friggin', it's just nonsense, right? He's a pretender clown. He
But-
could have said it in less than a sentence.
Yeah,
That's all
sure,
it
but,
is.
but now we're on to a new subject, which is you said that you would hand people who would present Popper their asses, other than the demonstration that's just happened, by way of not understanding what Popper actually did. What did you mean by that? Were there certain groups of people that use him for a certain end?
Yeah, they didn't know what he exactly did. They wouldn't say what I just said. They'd have different takes on it, right? So it was just so many people would bring, well, oh, but Karl Popper, and I would just slam them because they didn't know exactly what he was talking about, what I just summarized. It's just that simple.
I see. Fair enough.
So basically what he's saying is you can't disprove arguments from ignorance, essentially, which is true. Now, how profound it is, I don't know about that. Friggin' third grader can come up with that.
Yeah, it's not that profound. I mean, it's almost obvious based on the stuff that we say here, isn't it?
Precisely. What the problem was, I think why Popper had to step in and put this out, because pseudoscience was replacing science. They were using theories that weren't actual theories. They were just calling them theories. So we've just come full circle with Mr. News Meltdown.
Amazing.
Do you want me to leave him off mute?
No, you can leave him off. He can be on. He can be part of the conversation. We've only got maybe 10 minutes left to the live show.
Good.
Plus, it's an
I'll
interesting
release him.
conversation. I'd not heard of this Popper guy until now, and now I know his purpose in our conversation. If I'm ever going to reference him, the lack of falsifiability in pseudoscience is what he's useful for in reference terms, right?
Absolutely, that's what I'm trying to say. But the fact that they deride him and me immediately upstart, can I have the name of this person that keeps interrupting and being obnoxious?
What do you mean?
Who is that?
I've got to defend QE in this regard, right? 30 minutes.
QE, who's that?
Quantum Eraser.
Is that the guy that keeps interrupting him? Is that QE like what? QE?
Yeah, Quantum Eraser.
He's a quack.
Quantum Eraser. Okay, yeah, that's the guy that did the piss about Bob. Okay, fair enough.
That's the third time.
okay.
I can't let that slide
explains
now.
a lot.
Hold on. That's the third time you've mentioned Bob. So who's Bob? What's the beef? What's going on?
Bob from Globebusters. So
Okay.
that's Quantum Eraser. Indeed, it's the same obnoxious person. I looked at the video. He was having a go at Bob because he was fed up of him repeating constantly, the scientific method, this, that, and the other, without any depth into epistemology. And that's the big problem. That's exactly what I wrote in a comment. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys several times now. You've got no epistemological background. Therefore, you are just using an antibiotic with everything.
Oh,
You
God,
have
here
no
we go.
discernment. And I am terribly sorry to say that the show is going down the drain because we are listening to
You know
the
what?
same.
Shut up.
Yeah,
Okay,
I agree.
I'll let him go.
It's
I'll
not
let him
going to
go.
change the
I'll let him
facts.
go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish up. Get it all out. Share your pain.
No, my pain is that you have some audience and you have to be so obnoxious with everyone, and some people deserve it. But people that don't deserve it, people that are actually playing in the same game, is just moronic to play like that. Because basically what you're doing is you're kicking your own teammate to be the one that scores. And in the end, what happens is the whole team loses. So I think it's absolutely stupid to work on egos. And you need to understand that your knowledge is extremely limited. And you have showed it today, because to everything I've said, you've got nothing to answer but asinine derision. And that's the trick of people that don't know anything. Okay.
Total
Okay,
nonsense.
you done?
Well, I want to defend you, John. Karl Popper summary, I've now got a good handle on within about, 25 seconds of discussing it with you after endless diatribe from this guy. Now we're on to Bob being on hashtag same team. Well, unfortunately, Bob was doing the circuit, basically saying that what we describe here, which is set in stone, the method hasn't changed, it's always the same, it's been driving scientific discovery for quite some time, yet it's described by Bob at Globebusters as all that bullshit, which it isn't. So that's got to be addressed.
Read Karl Popper, get some distance, get some perspective, and then we'll talk again in a month. Okay? I wish you guys a good day, good evening.
Okay. Without
morning,
reading
good
Karl
afternoon.
Popper, would you say that if I was to summarise that Karl Popper essentially detailed the lack of falsifiability in a non-adherence to the scientific method? Would that be an accurate summary of Popper?
That's an extremely boiled down reduction to a lot of thoughts around the scientific method and its result, what it has been doing, and so on. It's a very dairy one. That's why you've never heard of him, because it's been hidden, as much as people like Heaviside or people like Jeffy Menko, all those people you've never heard of, because they are the ones that did actually something around electricity. And Popper is one of those philosophers that wasn't pushed forward like Einstein, which stole everything in the patent office. They were hidden because he's saying very interesting stuff. I suggest you read. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
agree with you,
dispute
sir.
it. I'm not saying I won't. But all I'm trying to get through in this instance is that when you're saying, well, with literally zero knowledge of this person till 5 minutes ago, I've managed to parrot what John Quantum Eraser told me back to you, and you agree that that's a too boiled down summary of what he did. Well,
because that's what you can read on Wikipedia. But you're going to have to agree with me that
you're missing my point. My point is that concise summary came from the person that you're charging with all sorts of nonsense.
No, it's not nonsense, Nathan. No, don't say that. Okay, go ahead.
Well, yeah, it is. Your charge in regard to Bob Nodell is unreasonable in regards to his claims against us directly. He is claiming that, to paraphrase what he said, if we don't put things through the scientific ringer and they don't fit through, then Strawman essentially says that we declare that as all nonsense if it doesn't fit through that ringer, much the same as you did, saying that that's not the only method. And we described, when put to task, to you that no, it's not the only method. There are many other methods, that it's very narrow, that it only deals with cause and effect, etc., etc., etc. But that's not what we're being charged with by people like Bob Nodell. He's very specifically charging not only the method itself as being total bullshit, while simultaneously saying it's all fine and dandy, a contradiction in terms, but simultaneously saying that we automatically disregard anything that hasn't been through that method. Also not true. Now, should we just encourage that? Because #same team? Or should we correct it based on presumably people like Karl Popper, who does understand the scientific method and has looked into it, understands it's empirical, and also, from what I understand from Quantum Eraser, understands that a non-adherence is not falsifiable. So all of these things are things that we talk about here.
I should be reading in between the lines of Cowbell, and then you don't read in between the lines that Bob, when he wrote what he wrote, was absolutely annoyed by the tone of voice of Quantum Eraser, which is an absolute killer. I mean, the guy, no matter how much right he would be, he would always have people against him because he's a fucking pain in the ass. I don't know how to tell you otherwise, you know?
He's autistic. He's got problems.
Don't take your chances, Simon. That might well be true from your personal perspective, or Bob's. I'm not clairvoyant, I can't speak for him. But I will say that the actual cowbell in this instance is absolutely 100% correct. If it's left unaddressed, we're left with an audience under the impression, at the words of Bob Nodell, that what we say here is essentially bullshit. And it is not. So I'm not going to allow that to be tolerated. I'm not going to shake hands with somebody that essentially pisses all over everything we do here, which is precisely what's being done. Now, I or Quantum Eraser haven't gone out and charged him with being a grocery delivery boy. We have attacked his scientific acumen based on a method which is set in stone and his lack of understanding thereof. Simple. You know, when we hear
the method is not set in stone,
when we hear
that's the problem.
Equivocation between how much somebody understands science and then immediately details that they've been looking into conspiracy for a very long time, that kind of nonsense frustrates me. And it also frustrates Quantum Eraser. The appeal to format is nonsense. It doesn't matter how it's presented in tone. The relevant information is regards to the subject matter at hand. And what is that subject matter? Well, the subject matter at hand is the physical and natural world. Not my former affiliation with a supermarket. That's not relevant. The tone in which we disseminate the physical and natural world, what's that again? Oh, science! That's not relevant. All that is relevant is whether or not you understand those principles, whether or not you have adhered to those principles, whether or not you declare those principles when you have a non-adherence. Like Popper's describing, the non-falsifiability of pseudoscience, right? Well, that is what we are discussing. We want to root out the pseudoscience pretender clowns who make declarations based on observation. They don't have empiricism, they don't have an adherence to science. And that's what we're being told by our opposition in this regard, Bob Nodell, is bullshit. No, it's empirical. So we're going to address that. Not his person, not ad hominem, not at the man, but at the issue at hand. And that is the physical and natural world that we live in. That's the primary subject that we're talking about. And when we have a method adhered to by few that is ignored or called bullshit, that has a method of empiricism part and parcel of it, we're going to call those people out when they call it bullshit. We'd be unreasonable if we didn't. To just tolerate the very nature of what we're describing being completely crapped all over. Anyway, with that, I'm going to say a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's live panel. Just stay tuned if you're watching on the Nathan Oakley 1980 premiering stream, as there will be an after show to follow. If you are watching live on Nathan Oakley, then check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley 1980, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!